Welcome to Bragg About It, another episode. We're so happy you're here joining us. I'm Meghan Bragg.
And I'm Carleen Bragg. And today,
yes,
we got somebody special in house.
We really do.
Somebody very, very worth bragging about. We've got the founder and CEO of Camino, the organization that's been supporting and caring for and looking after the Latino community here in Charlotte and beyond for decades now.
Decades.
We've got the man in the driver's seat. Rusty Price is here.
Hey,
the Reverend Rusty Price.
Honored to be here.
Yes.
With
the Braggs.
The Braggs.
the Braggs, the ladies who are Braggs.
We love it, Rusty. Rusty, you have such an incredible story. Really, I want you to tell us who you are and how this started, because this started in the 90s, which is amazing.
So I am the husband to the most wonderful lady in the world, Anna. She was my junior high sweetheart, and we grew up together and got married early, dreamed about being missionaries overseas. I have 4 children and 8 grandchildren.
Wow.
And
busy.
A litter.
Yeah, we have a big crew. And we've had the most incredible life from Cuba, Guatemala, El Salvador, all over Latin America, with the poorest of the poor, and then with ambassadors and very wealthy people. And then we have been serving here in the Charlotte community for a long time, and it's a fun time. People call me the glitch in the system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I confuse people, the way I look, what we do. I speak Spanish. You know, been speaking more Spanish than English for the last 30 years.
Wow.
And so I love to stir things up.
And okay, so tell me about this. Like, how did you get into this, first of all? And did you learn Spanish when you were younger, or like Latino? Like, why did you feel so geared towards that?
Yeah, because there's nothing about me that's Latino.
No, no, absolutely not.
I am. I went to high school in Panama City, Florida. Lovingly called the Redneck Riviera. But my wife and I felt this calling. My father was a pastor, grandfather pastor, grew up in that context, and we felt this calling to go somewhere as missionaries. Yeah. And we had gotten married, and my wife was teaching a Sunday school class and had 4 little Hispanic girls, 3 of them from Cuba. And I was invited to go to Cuba. Yeah. And it became this passion that I couldn't shake. And I love it when people tell me I can't do something. Yeah. And they told me I couldn't go to Cuba because of the embargo.
You got to one up.
That's right. And so we felt this calling. And it was one of those things are hard to define, right? And others won't understand it. I just know that for us, it was a growing passion to where we felt like if we didn't do it, we'd miss out on life. And so we sold everything we had, sold our house, sold our car, left our jobs, and took this leap of faith with 2 little girls at the time. Wow. And learning Spanish, we got in a car, an old car that the air conditioning didn't work, that someone had given us, and we drove from Charlotte, North Carolina to south of Mexico City and signed up in a language school. No GPS. You know, it was different days, exactly. And so we went to language school there and learned Spanish. I tell everybody I ate a hot chili pepper and that erased my English. We learned Spanish and then set out on this incredible journey of faith over the last 30 years now.
Wow. That's incredible. So you said you picked up and went. Is there a specific moment that you remember that it like clicked on? You're like, this is it.
Well, as a pastor and a person of faith, it's like those are hard things to define. Is this God leading? Is this my emotion? And so we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And the day I had to make a decision, because I was going to sign up with this mission agency, if I didn't make the decision that day, it would be another year before I could make the decision. So I was praying, God, send me a sign from, let Fidel Castro write me a letter of invitation or something simple like that. And I opened my Bible, and there was a scripture that said, "My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me." And it was as if God was speaking audibly to me. And I just said, okay, we're going. Yeah. And when I did, I had this unusual, incredible peace that I'd made the right decision. And so it was probably a 1.5 year process of processing, investigating, being afraid of what we were about to do. But that was that moment, just hearing that still small voice that, again, is so hard to define. But that's what prompted us.
And especially because you're, picking up and moving and doing all of this stuff. So I'm sure that was very scary for you, your wife, your kids. Tell me about, going over there and what you experienced and why this really shaped this organization today.
So speaking of moving, my oldest daughter had charted how many times we moved before she was 18. And according to her, we moved 33 times before she had turned 18, because we were living in the person's house that let us stay there for a little bit. And so when the kids used to ask us where we lived, I'd say we lived together. Because we didn't know exactly where we were living. But going into Cuba was a very difficult thing. Again, there was an embargo here in the United States, and then Cuba did not want us, especially as coming from a religious position. At that time, they were an atheist state. So I went and I snuck in and met this young doctor who had permission from the public health of Cuba to bring medicines back. And after the years, he works for us now, works with us now, I shouldn't say for us, because it was his idea to start a nonprofit. And we found out years later that his father and my father were in a youth camp together in Cuba in '58. We didn't know it at the time. Just all these cool,
right? Like meant
things.
to be.
Exactly. So we started the nonprofit, which is now Camino. And that was this miraculous journey. I tell everybody, passion with ignorance has always been my mantra, right? Had no idea what I was getting into. But we were given a large donation of medical supplies, didn't have a place to store it, and then the buildings that Camino resides in now, they were all donated to us. At the time, they were functioning warehouses. We got licensing from Commerce Department, licensing from the Treasury Department, and then we became the largest donor from the U.S. to Cuba for about 10 years. Hundreds of millions of dollars that were sent through public health, and we would monitor the distribution, and all the while we were working in the underground church, kind of on the side. That was our side hustle, because that was really our passion. And saw just crazy things. I mean, scary things. We were always being followed and interrogated, investigated. Gotten some pretty scary situations there in Cuba.
I bet. How was that for, not only, you're trying to make a difference, but also trying to protect your own family? Was that hard to do?
Well, that was our biggest, the biggest question was not for me. I love adventure. I love adrenaline. It was for our little girls. They were 2 and 3 years old when we started this journey. And so I was worried about their health care and their education and their safety. And what I learned is that God can take care of them better than I can. And so I always say this, the safest place anybody could ever be is in that center of his purpose for us. So we learned a long time ago, he provides, and we had, miraculous, I believe we should all work and work hard, and I do work hard, but we were working hard in a place that wasn't paying us a salary. And so we would see these crazy things. We'd need $100 or $5,000, and it would show up right before the time we had to have it. And so our family learned all those things, and today all of them are still very active in the mission, which is exciting to me. A lot of times people that grow up in a pastor's home or a religious home, they take off.
I
was going to ask you, how do your children feel about the line of work that you do? And are they going to continue on Camino, or are they going to kind of do their own venturing out? What are they going to do?
My 3 older children, 2 girls and a boy, they all speak Spanish. They all work with us at Camino and their spouses. My youngest son is graduating with his master's from UNCC in electrical engineering. And we're hoping he'll stay the course with engineering, because we need somebody that can make a little bit of money in the family. But very, very, very tight-knit family. We all serve and love what we do. They all speak Spanish, which is exciting. And
I love that.
It's a beautiful. My grandchildren all have learned Spanish as well.
That's fantastic.
It's exciting.
I do want to ask, because right now we're talking about your worldly travel. What's your favorite place you've ever been?
Wow.
I know, it's going to be a hard
one.
I'll
tell you my favorite place in the world. There's a hotel in Havana called Hotel Nacional. It's a classic historic hotel. And it sits up high on this hill, and it overlooks the sea, the Malecón, the famous road in Havana that you see, and you see the big lighthouse. That is my favorite place in the world. Sit up there. I sat up there. We didn't stay there often, but we'd sit up there and dream and make plans and smoke good Cuban cigars.
Oh, yeah.
Just sit out there in this beautiful, the breeze coming. That's probably my favorite place in the world.
I love a good Cuban cigar. I'm a cigar girl, so
All right.
I know. I love a good Cuban cigar.
Okay, I know somebody.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'm going to hit you up. All right. We are going to take a quick break here on Bragg About It, but keep it right with us. Talking to Rusty with Camino. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Bragg About It. We are here with the lovely Reverend Rusty Price from Camino. Now, we gave a little bit of a synopsis at the top, but please explain fully what Camino does, because they do so many things.
So many things, yes.
Well, our mission is to equip people to live healthy, hopeful, productive lives. And so those are kind of the three big action items that we've created our programs around. And so we have Camino University, which is now accredited for CEUs, and it's bilingual and digital. And then we have a program called Arriba, which it's about all things upward mobility. We help start businesses. I think in the last year and a half, we've helped start like 57 Latino-owned businesses. We help with English classes, workforce development, preparing people's resume, and help with all those, anything that has to do with work, entrepreneurship. Then we have the healthcare, Camino Salud, which we have primary care, dental services, which I'll brag about that later. It's the best in the world. Behavioral health, nutritionist, as well as food security. And then we have the church piece, which is about hope. And the organizations are not the same. There's two different nonprofits, and we keep budgets different, boards different, but they share a mission. And so we those are our four pillars: the church for hope, university to equip, Arriba for productivity, and then the health center for healthy.
That's a long list.
It is.
What sort of challenges, what are some of the biggest challenges you face of running an organization with this many things to offer?
In the nonprofit world, it's very difficult as you grow. We want to give everything we can away, but at the same time we have to be sustainable. When we started as a family, we could make sacrifices because it only depended on us.
Right.
As we've grown, now people have jobs.
Yeah.
And so one of the hardest, most difficult things is about making sure that we always have funding secured, that the people who are doing such great work aren't nervous about getting paid when payroll comes up. That's one of the big ones. I think another one is the staying the course for mission. It's easy to get sidetracked where money becomes your mission.
Right.
And we always work really hard to make sure no matter what challenges we're facing financially, we keep our eye on the mission. In fact, one of our values is we laugh. And we love to laugh at Camino, but it's not just about atmosphere, it's about faith. There's a scripture that says she looks at the future without fear and laughs. So we're constantly reminding people of the history that God would show up in those times of need, and we want that to be the thing that shapes our future as well. So we run relaxed, we laugh, we get these big, huge bills in, and we just laugh, thinking, oh, they think we're going to pay that? No, that's not. But really, I think that's the tension between the business side of the nonprofit now that it's grown so much, and between the mission side to make sure that our hearts are focused on the community we're serving.
North Carolina right now, 10th in the country for largest, Hispanic population, Latino population coming in, or I should say that houses Hispanic, Latinos. What have you seen change throughout the years? Are you feeling like you're helping more here because just the environment that we're in right now, the uncertainty? What have you seen throughout the years with this?
Yeah, it's an interesting world. The North Carolina is in the top 10 states with the highest population. I was in Clinton, North Carolina this last weekend, and the school systems in some of these counties that you would just think were just the typical, African American white cultures. Now Latinos are the majority. 80% of one high school is Latino, and these kids are U.S. born.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I'm hopefully going to finish my book soon called The Future es Latino.
Yeah.
Latinos will be the majority population within 20, 25 years. And I think for some people that, with the narrative right now, it's scary for some. But boy, if they could get to know these people, they'd say, it gives me great hope because their value structure, people of faith, family, hard work, resilience, They're debt adverse. They work hard. They save for the future. They're starting new businesses. They're achieving things. The Latino economy in the U.S., if you look at it as its own economy, is the 5th largest GDP in the world and the 3rd fastest growing. So in every sector, in the health sector, they're achieving great things. In the economy, they're driving the economy. In faith, many churches are going away, but Latinos are bringing the numbers up in faith. And then culture and art. Look at the Super Bowl this last year.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny
I know.
singing
Killed
in
it.
Spanish.
Loved
my God,
it.
loved
And I speak Spanish. I didn't understand a word he said. He kind of mumbles. But to think that something so branded as apple pie and
Right.
you know, barbecue, the
Yeah.
Super Bowl is the biggest thing. And the business behind it said, hey, we want this market. So they put a guy singing in Spanish. It's interesting,
it was a
this
party.
cultural.
Oh my gosh, it
It
was
was
so
amazing.
fun.
Yeah, this cultural shift that we're going through.
Right.
And I think with the cultural shift, with the demographic shift, and then with this harsh narrative that puts a target on people's backs, it's a difficult time for the community I serve right now.
Sure.
Interesting thing. This year they just did the budget finally, after, you know, a little bit late. $600 million were appropriated to nonprofits. Not one penny appropriated to any Latino-facing nonprofit, which has not been the case in the history.
Right.
And so that environment
Yeah.
is having deep repercussions on the communities that we serve that are paying taxes.
Right.
A lot of taxes.
Yeah. And that must be difficult. Do you find yourself helping even more people today than you have in the past?
Oh, no doubt. But 5 years ago, I think we served a total of 15,000, 20,000 people. The last year, when we finished our numbers, at 212,000 service encounters.
Wow.
So our footprint has grown. We have outposts in all 100 counties in North Carolina. We've launched telehealth in Spanish on a national level, not just North Carolina. Now we can reach across any state. And the need is greater than ever. There's a hunger for education and for entrepreneurship, which really drives a lot of what we're doing now, the workforce development, helping equip these people that are just amazing people and placing them in the right careers and jobs. And there's a bigger opportunity than ever. I think one of the misdiagnoses or the prejudice we have sometimes is we'll see the Latino community and we think they're poor. And what happens, the first generation when they get here, they may be struggling some financially, but quickly they work their way out of that situation. They're not looking for government handouts, they're looking for opportunity, and they just won't spend their money on the things I'll spend my money on. They save it.
Yeah.
And so there's not a group of poor people that are dragging down our economy.
Right.
It's quite the opposite. They really are lifting up our economy. And so we want to empower them, and it helps us all.
Yeah.
It's kind of selfish, right?
Yeah.
We help them, it helps us.
Right.
Because you work so hard, how do you avoid burnout?
Drinking. No, I don't. Not that. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of stress. I think, first of all, I think I was built for this. I think God put me here for what I'm doing. So I love it, what I'm doing. There is a real thing of compassion fatigue.
Yeah.
Where you're serving and you
You're
feel
giving, yeah.
I think I'm so driven by the opportunity as much as by the need that I think I've run past that somehow, some way.
Good for you.
I mean, I've got this incredible assurance that there's a destiny. I have a destiny, and what we're doing is bigger than us.
Yeah.
So I just don't think we can fail, and that motivates me. We tell everybody, play like you're winning. We watch the World Cup, and you can see the momentum of a game turn about attitude. And I think I've just been created with that optimism that we're going to make it no matter what.
I love that in the beginning you were like, you see me and you don't think, you do what you do, right? Has there ever been a time where people underestimate you or have, maybe not thought you were as serious as you are, and then you start talking and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, because I love to laugh, and I'm always joking around.
Yeah,
so I think I misrepresent myself sometimes. I've got deep experience talking about bragging.
Yeah.
So
We love it here.
I've got ADHD, which is a superpower.
That's
So do
right.
I.
Yeah,
But
she
my
knows
mind
too.
works so fast.
Yes.
And I have this capacity to manage 100 different things all at once, and if I hear it, I've got it. And so I think people will look at me and they'll think, oh, he's got too many ideas, he's starting too many things, and they don't realize that I also will stay until it's done. And so, 18 years ago, we had a gentleman come from Venezuela, a dentist, and he came to faith here. He had very little. We helped him some. And I told him, hey, one day we're going to have a dental clinic here in North Carolina. And it's an impossibility. 15 years later, he became the director of the International Dental Program at Chapel Hill. They gave him full licensure. And today he's the director of our dental clinic at Camino. So that vision with passion but patience,
Yep.
I think that's where people will underestimate me, because I spit vision all the time. I'm always talking about, oh, we can do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's crazy. You got too much going on.
You're like, watch me.
Watch
That's
me.
right. Watch me or don't watch me, but I'm
Yeah.
going to get there. You
Yeah,
know?
right, exactly.
I think that's part of that would kind of be a commentary on my life. And then the other thing is ridiculous faith. Faith and stupidity look exactly alike until God shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like playing chicken with imminent danger. But we've just lived this life where we've got a track record.
Right.
And so in times where most people would jump ship, I get excited. I'm like, oh, we got this. We got this. Let's go.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another break right here, but when we come back, it's our bread and butter.
Brag about it, babe.
Brag about it. We are so excited to hear Rusty's brag when we come back.
Welcome back to Brag About It. We are here with the CEO of Camino, the Reverend Rusty Price, and you know what time it is. It's time to brag about it. You've got a lot to brag about, so go ahead.
Well, okay, talking about bragging, one of the things I am most proud of is the team that has been built at Camino. When we started, it was just my wife and I, and incredible sacrifice. Now we have almost 100 incredibly qualified team members, and our budget's large, but the economic impact in Charlotte and the greater in North Carolina is ridiculous. And this is surprising. We commissioned an independent group to do an economic impact study on Camino and the people we serve. And it came back for 1 year in North Carolina, the economic impact of what we did was $5.89 billion.
Wow.
And so the brag is, most people think we're helping the poor, but the reality is helping others helps us all.
Right.
And so I am so proud of Camino that in 1 year, $5.89 billion comes back to the economy, and we're going to just keep going and going and going. So I'm real proud of that.
Yeah.
You should be.
Rusty, we need more people like you in this world.
Using your ADD, ADHD.
It's a superpower.
Right,
Yes.
it is. I mean, I
It's
feel
only
like
a
I'm
disorder
not
for those who
doing
have to
much.
work
I know,
with us, right?
right?
I mean,
I think it's wonderful
Yes.
what you're doing and how you even started this. Just taking that leap, knowing that you wanted to help others is huge. And, I know Charlotte and North Carolina and the country and the world really, really appreciates
Yeah.
it. You're doing a lot of great work. And to see this build and grow like this is amazing.
As Charlotte's growing, I'm sure there's a parallel too. It just
Yeah.
keeps going up, 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 and up, and up.
there is. And I think another brag is to watch these young people who have grown up in Camino. Now they're doing things that are changing the world.
Yeah.
One little girl that was in our church is now the executive VP at 20th Century Fox.
Wow.
I've got another young lady who got her postdoctorate in bioengineering from MIT and is changing the world through new discoveries around medicines, and it really is what has come through Camino.
Yep.
We've got some of the most incredible people in high level places. The ones that have come from UNCC as interns now have their PhDs. They're serving in big areas in Charlotte. Camino's a special place. It's a beautiful tree that's producing great fruit.
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered as? What do you want the Reverend Rusty Price to be remembered as?
The glitch in the system.
Okay.
I want to be a catalyst for change, and I feel like people, like trees, fall the way they're leaning. And one of the hardest things is not to get pushed to an extreme by those who infuriate us. And so I want to be remembered as one that doesn't fall to the right or to the left, but stands right where I should stand, keeping my eyes on what I'm supposed to do. A man of great faith and willing to speak truth no matter who's in the room. I really want to do that. And then I also want everybody to really remember me for pouring my life out in service to others.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Rusty, it was so wonderful to have you on Bragg About It. Thank you so much for taking the time and being here with us.
Thank you. This is braggadocious.
Yeah,
Braggadocious.
You ladies are
We'll be back
amazing.
with some more braggadocious next week. Thanks, y'all.